the person that is gonna do this part, he's new in FuXion. He only has 10 months in FuXion, but he has a 30-year experience in network marketing. Not 2 years, not 5 years, 30, 3-0. Okay? He's a network marketer around the globe. He's in the Hall of Fame of network marketing. Okay? He comes from a company that he broke all the records, and just now in FuXion, he is the fastest growing diamond in all America. Right now, he's top 30 in all the countries and #1 in the USA, with teams in Mexico, Colombia, El Salvador, Ecuador, and the United States. Okay, and very soon in another country, in another continent. Okay, so are we ready for the next network marketing? Yes! Okay, let's give a big applause to Diamond Randy Gage.
Hay solamente 3 personas, todo en Florida, quien no habla español. Pero ellos están aquí esta noche. What I said is, there's only 5 people or 3 people left in Florida who don't speak Spanish, and they're here tonight. And they didn't know that this meeting was in Spanish. And I didn't know that this meeting was in Spanish. Last time we talked about this, that this wasn't going to happen again, but it did. So I'm going to do, I would love to practice my Spanish, but I need to do this in English. So do we need a translator? Yes. Is there people who don't speak any English who need me to be translated? Do we want to ask that in Spanish? Do we need a translator or not? Does it go a lot quicker with it? Okay. So, since I practiced my opening in Spanish in El Salvador, I will give it to you in Spanish, and then yo no quería unirme a FuXion. Yo no quería unirme a FuXion. I did not want to join FuXion. In fact, of all the companies in the world, the last one that I wanted to join was FuXion. Pero me uní. ¿Por qué? Why did I join? And maybe let me tell you why I didn't want to join. Let's tell that story, because I think that's pretty fascinating. More than 10 years ago, I joined a company here in the United States and helped launch it. It was a startup venture, had what I think was a pretty sexy product story, and I thought we could do something really special with that. And we did. I worked for that company for 10 years. I became the top income earner in the world. I made more than $11 million in bonus checks, 6 or 8 luxury sports cars, 10 or 12 luxury trips and cruises, and all of the lifestyle stuff that you heard Ronald talk about. I had all of it. And then the company was sold to some investors out of Texas that I just could not go along with the direction that they wanted to take the company. So I did what I felt was the only honorable thing, was I resigned. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't sign off on this, and I'm just going to walk away, and I'm sending my resignation, and I'm done. So I had a choice. I could just go off into the sunset and play softball and race cars and drink out of a coconut because I've made a lot of money. I've been pretty smart with my money. But I had some team members who still had dreams, who said, no, we're not done. We still have things we want to do, things we want to accomplish. So, and we want to do them with you. We want to do it together. One last rodeo. So I said, okay, we'll do, but it's got to be something that I'm going to be excited, that I'm going to want to rip the sheets off the bed in the morning and jump out of bed and be excited to do this. So we started looking at where we might go. And by we, I'm talking about Ann and David Feinstein, Billy Looper, Shai and Yafa Samuel, Alberto Daphne Zerlinger, Jaime and Baruch Lokia. Some of my key people that we were just saying, okay, if we're going to do something, what could we do? And we started looking at companies. And I knew of FuXion. Alvaro had been my consulting client for 2 years. I knew kind of about the product line, knew kind of about the compensation plan. I knew very much about him and the people there. I knew about the field leadership there. And I did not want to join FuXion. Why? Because I had tens of thousands of team members in Russia and Kazakhstan and Ukraine, and FuXion wasn't open yet. Because I had thousands of team members in EU and European countries, FuXion wasn't open there. I had thousands of team members in Australia and New Zealand and Malaysia and Thailand and other Asian markets. FuXion wasn't open there. So I was going to walk away from literally tens of thousands of team members. I was going to join a company that only operated in Latin America, wasn't open in the United States, only was open in countries that spoke Spanish, and I didn't speak Spanish. So every checklist we did was like, I don't want to do FuXion, I don't want to do FuXion, I don't want to do FuXion. So why did I do FuXion? Here's some things that just transcended everything. And the first of them is the product line. If you haven't noticed, the market is changing. The regulatory environment is changing, particularly in the United States. And if you look at what happened, the recent settlement with Herbalife, if you look at the FTC action against BEMA, and Burn Lounge and some of these other operations out there, and the emphasis on customer programs and having the right percentage of customers and building a business that's product driven, that's not recruiting driven. Well, when you look at that environment and you look at the FuXion product line, you say there's nothing else like that out there anywhere. That products are, because again, you heard in the introduction, I've been doing this for 30 years. Let me tell you some things I've been doing for 30 years. For 30 years, I've been trying to educate my prospects. I say, here's why, this ingredient is important, and here's why you should know this, and here's what you should know about that, because you had to educate them to convince them why they should take your products. You don't have to do that with FuXion. We have the simple, most beautiful marketing story, all natural from the heart of the Amazon and the Andes Mountains, no preservatives, no GMO. Hey, and the most elegant marketing concept of any company has ever had, which is, hey, you and everyone you know is drinking coffee, teas, juices, sodas, athletic drinks, energy drinks every day. Simply switch to healthier versions that usually cost less. So I knew this is a product story would resonate anywhere. This is a product story that people will get. This is a product story that will get customers. that will get repeat orders, that will build large volumes, because you don't have to educate people. Second thing, for 30 years, I've been trying to change behavior. Well, you know, I know you're not getting these kind of results with the product, but if you would work out an hour a day, and if you would exercise with this, and if you would change your diet with that, and you would change this and change that, and do you know what that's like? It's like pushing a string when you're trying to convince people to change their behavior. So with FuXion, I said, wow. Okay, so you say, oh no, I gotta have my cappuccino every morning at 10:30 on my break. Great, just have a healthier version with antioxidants. So, oh man, in the afternoon I get this crash, I'm sitting in my cubicle at my desk, you know, I wanna have, you know, my diet soda. Okay, you need the break, you need that pickup. Just have a healthier version without the sugar substitute. Sweetened, natural, low carbs, great taste, sweetened with stevia and other natural sweeteners. So we don't have to change the behavior. And the biggest thing that I've done for 30 years, and I have done it always relentlessly for 30 years, is try to justify the price of my products and validate the cost and justify why people should pay more for my products than they would for equivalent products in wherever else they could do that. And I think that's pretty much every company in network marketing has to do that, except FuXion. Every product we have in the US is, you compare it, virtually, we have one product that's more than any one of them. The single most expensive product in the United States is the Beauty In product. That's $2 a sachet, full retail price, right? Every other product we have is $1 and change. So if you compare Vita or On with an athletic drink, where it's $2, $2.50 a bottle versus $1 and change. If you compare the pre-sport or the post-sport with one of those athletic drinks, if you compared Vita, if you put Vita and On together and took 2 sachets and compared it against those energy drinks that they're selling at the convenience stores and the 7-Elevens, it's like half the price of those. And the single most expensive product we have, Beauty In, $2 a sachet. You know who you'd compare that to? You know what you would compare that to? Those jars of Gookie creams in the department store that cost $80, $100, $160. And they're filled with carcinogens. Read the label, see all the ingredients that are in those skincare products in the department store at those high-end counters where they do all the facials and all of that stuff. Read the ingredients and then go Google them and say, what are the known carcinogens in this list? That's who would compete with Beauty In. So the product line made it, all right, I can't argue with that, that's it. Second reason, the genius of Álvaro Zúñiga. If you made a list, and I know, because I've known him, because I worked with him for 2 years now as his consultant. Okay, so I say if you made a list of the most brilliant, visionary, innovative entrepreneurs on the planet, and you were going to list the top 10, whatever you pick, okay, maybe you'd say Steve Jobs when he was still alive, maybe Elon Musk, whoever you pick, I tell you what, that list would not be complete if Álvaro Zúñiga is not on that list. Third reason I joined, the most important one, the character of Álvaro Zúñiga. I just knew who he was as a person. I knew his heart. And that made all the difference to me. See, the thing with companies is if you have good people, then things work. If you don't have good people, they don't work. If there's a problem with a product or a product line, if you have good people, they fix it. If there's a problem with a compensation plan, if you have good people, they fix it. If there's a recall or a back order or any situation, if you have good people, they make it go away. And one thing you can absolutely take to the bank is Alvaro is good people. And he surrounded himself with good people. So we looked at that. We looked at the international expansion. We said, oh wow, well they're only in Latin America. Well, if you say they're only in Latin America, what does that mean? It means they haven't opened the United States yet. They haven't opened Europe yet. They haven't opened Russia and Kazakhstan and all that yet. They haven't opened Asia yet and the Pacific Rim. And then you say, wow, I could be one of the people who make that happen. I could be one of the people who create that growth. So we looked at all those things and we just said, you know, there is no other possible choice here. The only company we can join is FuXion. And thank goodness we did. So it's a Wednesday night, we're in Miami. We could go around to dozens of hotels around here, and there's going to be opportunity meetings for network marketing companies happening tonight, right? Last night, probably there were dozens and dozens in Miami. Tomorrow night, Thursday, there'll be dozens in Miami. You know what will happen if you go around and you visit all of those meetings? Every single one of them is going to show the slide. What's the slide? That's the slide, that's the PowerPoint they put up. And every company has one of these. It's a chart. And on the left side, it shows the sales. 50,000, 100,000, 500,000, 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, 50 million, 100 million, $1 billion. And then down at the bottom, it shows the time, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. And every one of them will have that exponential growth curve. Right? You've all seen it. That slide is in every meeting, every company ever. The momentum slide. The exponential growth slide. Because they all show that whole exponential growth thing, and then they have it like a star. It's always here, before the momentum has happened. And you could be there for that exponential growth, the mana of network marketing, the sacred whatever, I don't know what cliche I can even use to describe it. Everybody's seeking the momentum, the exponential growth. Now let's be realistic, because remember, I'm a guy who's been doing this for 30 years. I know something about this. I have done that. I have been a part of exponential growth. Not once, twice. Once, and saw it blossom into fruition, and once where I saw it implode because the factors weren't in place to support the growth. Here's the thing you want to understand. Everybody wants to have momentum. Everybody thinks they're the next billion-dollar company. The truth is, it's not one company in 3,000 that will ever actually hit exponential growth. And the few that have that opportunity to actually hit it, most of them will blow up because they don't have the necessary ingredients in place to support that kind of growth. Here's what I'm talking about. When this happened, we did something, me and a few other people, we joined a company, been around a few years, virtually unknown. We thought it was a solid product line. We thought, there's a story here, there's something we could do with this. If we put our expertise with that, we might be able to tip this thing over into momentum. So we joined. We went to work, and I put together my system. You know me, I'm all Mr. System. Always have, that's the first thing I do. So I took my generic system and customized it for that particular company, how I felt we should do, and we created marketing materials and events and training and all of that stuff. We did something nobody had ever done in history. We put 40,000 new team members in that company in 1 month. Now, before you think, oh, yeah, I hear that, I'm not talking about one of these stupid money games on the internet where people sign up and take a position, they don't buy a product. I'm talking about 40,000 people who placed an activation order somewhere between $200 and $400 and put down a credit card for auto ship. Okay? In fact, we were the first company in the world to offer auto ship. We created that. So 40,000 people in a month bought an activation order and went on auto ship. Okay? We were just patting ourselves on the back. We're like, nobody has ever done this. We've set a record that will never be broken. Until the next month. When we put 60,000 new team members in a month. It's all right. Call Guinness Book of World Records. This is it. This will stand forever. Nobody will ever do this again in the history of the universe. Until the next month. 80,000 new team members.
What product was it for?
I don't want to talk about that. Okay, but people can piece it together if they put together the clues, okay? 80,000 people in a month. The company, so here's the thing, when I say companies implode, do you understand, when you add 40,000, 60,000, 80,000 people, you can't hire employees fast enough. You can't hook up phone lines quick enough. You can't build cubicles to put them in. They actually hired every unemployed person in the state where the headquarters were, and they still didn't have enough employees. We literally had to go and rent a factory and convert it in the state next door so that we could hire people to work there, because the unemployment rate in the home headquarters was 0. Because we just called literally the company called the unemployment office and said, everybody who wants a job, anybody who wants a job of any kind with any experience, send them here, we'll hire them today. Because they so desperately needed phone operators and customer service people and warehouse people and packers and you know what I mean? So that's the thing. You can't, if you don't have the factors in place, the infrastructure, it won't happen. As we're streaming this live on the Facebook group, ask Ann and David Feinstein. They know a little something about this. That a team, because that was the first time I did it, it worked. And that became a $1 billion company, okay? And it's still living happily ever after. Now, Ann and David asked them about their experience in Portugal, my experience over in Australia, working with this other company. Ask her about when 4,000 people joined in a month in the country of Portugal. In a day, 4,000 people in a day. And what happened? This happened within a week, there was no products. Everything was on back. So people would come, they'd buy an activation order, they'd put an order ship, and they'd get a back order slip. So that was, let's say it's January. Then in February, you know what happens? Their credit card gets dinged again for the order ship in February. They don't have the activation order from January. You know what happens in March? They ding their credit card again. They don't have the products from January. They don't have the products from February. What do you think happens? 2, 3, 4 months of that? People quit. I went through the same thing in Australia. Had a key guy there. I said, hey, I'm coming there. We're going to open up the market. I went down there early. I literally rented an apartment in Sydney. I said, I'm going to plant my flag here. We're going to open up Australia, New Zealand. We're going to go crazy with this. We put 1,500 people in Sydney, 1,000 people in Melbourne, 1,000 people Gold Coast, I mean, other little towns you never even heard of, huge events going on. They couldn't deliver the products. 10 days, 12 days, 14 days to get ordered. Shipping was ridiculous, so everything was going like expedited, and they'd buy a $60 box of product and pay $20 for shipping. I mean, it was just, they couldn't do the logistics. And I saw that implode. So you know what I've learned? I learned there's 5 things. To really hit exponential growth and make it work, there's 5 things have to be in place. And that's why I say it's not 1 in 3,000 companies could do this, because they don't have those things in place. The first thing, so anybody interested in what the 5 things are?
Yes.
You know, you're streaming live around the world. We're trying to show them we have energy. So here's the 5 things you gotta have in place to really hit and sustain and survive and grow out of momentum. The first thing you need is the right product line. Now, that sounds natural, it sounds easy. It's not easy. Most companies don't have the right product line. Why? Because there are certain factors that come into play for a product to work right in network marketing. There's a projector right there. That's a great projector. That's a good product. If you need to stream a PowerPoint in a room, you probably want a projector. So that's a good product, right? But it's not a good product for network marketing. Tires are a good product. Every time I buy a car, I always say, hey, can I get 4 tires with that? I like my cars with tires on them. Probably you like your car with tires on them too. Tires are a great product. They're not a good product for network marketing. Because if you buy a set of tires, when do you buy the next one? 2 years later, 3 years later, whatever. Same as a projector, might be 10 years before you buy it. What kind of products work for network marketing? First of all, products, not services. This has been going on for half a century. We've got empirical evidence, we've got case studies, we've got lots of experience, and we can see in 50 years, 60 years, what we've seen is services don't do well in network marketing. Products do well in network marketing. And only specific types of products. Products that are unique, exclusive, and highly consumable. That makes a big difference. Products that have an emotional connection with people. That's what, you know, the utilities. Let's say somebody saves $10 on their electric bill. Well, great, that's a good service, right? But people, it's not a good product that does get people sexy and excited for network marketing because they save $10. Now let me tell you what happened to me. I go to Oslo, Norway to do a book signing. I go back to San Diego, I fly, all, you know, red-eye flight, everything. I come back, it's 14 different time zones. I get, you know, home at almost midnight. I get up the next morning, I have a softball game. So I go to the park, I come up for the first at bat, guy pitches me a meatball right down the middle of the plate, I swing with the bat, boom, that ball takes off. It dies in the glove of the outfielder. I'm so weak, I got such a jet lag. So what do? I go to my shaker bar. I put a Vita and on a post-sport and a beauty in. I shake it up, I drink like half of it, okay? I come up to bat the second time, that guy throws me a pitch, I hit this ball, this is still going, this ball. We switch the innings, the outfielder comes into me, the guy who's playing center field, and says, Randy, if I would have put a ladder on top of the fence and stood on that, I still couldn't have caught your home run. That's how, right? You know what that is? For me, that's an emotional connection to my product. That's Tuesday. Saturday, I have another league. Same thing, it's a 55-plus league. So, first at bat, I get a hit, I'm on first base, I'm waiting. One of my coaches over on the third base side says, hey Randy, do you need a runner? Because this is 55 and older, they have courtesy runners. 55 like me. So I said, no, I'm okay. And they're like, sure, you know, so-and-so can run, you know, he's fast. And they're debating back and forth because there are, you know, there's two guys on the team who were like fast, they could run faster than me. And the pitcher on the other team, he's listening to all this, going back and forth. And finally he says, he's the only guy on the field with a flat stomach. Just let him run. What is that? If you're a 57-year-old guy like me, that's an emotional connection with the product. Okay? These products, you saw those pictures, the before and after of Ronald up here? I mean, this is the other thing about products. When they have demonstrable results, this is what drives. That's why I say you need certain type of products. You need products that become what we call sizzle products, that have a buzz about them. All right? And I can tell you, we have an event this weekend in Dallas, Texas. Explode America. This is our major event for this quarter. There will be a product line launched at that weekend event. The reason why I'm hitting those home runs, the reason why why I say I'm so crazy about these products, I'm at the weight I was at in high school. Okay? I'm at a weight that I have not been at in 30 years. I have more muscle, less fat, I'm more lean than I have ever been my entire life. And the reason, one of the big reasons, is this product line, which we're gonna introduce this weekend. I've been on for 3.5 or 4 months, because if you're the top income earner in the United States, you can throw your weight around a little and you get some products early to be the guinea pig and test them out. All right? So I'm telling you, this product line that we're going to launch this week, this is going to make a huge impact in the United States. We're going to rock with this thing. Okay? So you've got to have the right product line. We have that. Let me tell you the second thing you need. Second thing you need is the right compensation plan. See, what you need is a compensation plan that rewards people for taking the correct behaviors. Because however you get paid, that's the activity you're going to create. In other words, people will always max out the comp plan. They're always going to want to know, I've got this many people, this much volume. How can I get the maximum amount in my bonus check? So you're going to figure out what's the actions you should take that will produce you the highest income. So what smart companies learn is we need to build the plan in a way that rewards people to go down and build in depth, to take the right actions. And you will see they will evolve. I can tell you every company that starts, that makes it, changes their plan 5 times in the first 5 or 6 years. Why? Because it's not an exact science. When you design a plan, you say, well, what would the average consumption of a family of 4 be? How much would they use in a month? And if they use that much, how much should we set as the bronze rank? And how much should we set at the gold rank? And how much rank? And you make some educated guess. And then when you get out in the marketplace, you find out the reality of how the plans operate. I can tell you this, that was one of the things that Alvaro hired me for 2 years ago, was to look at this plan, investigate it, say how do we improve this and make it better. And you see some of you in this room who won those $500 new bronze bonus and the matching bonus for the sponsor. You see the company is committed to keep enhancing the plan. I will also tell you, which I can safely tell you because Alvaro announced it in, where were we, Orlando, so it's not a secret, but I was with him till 2 in the morning with Luca and Gamio and Lena and Renato. We were literally meeting till 2 in the morning looking at a founder's version of the compensation plan that we could put into place in developing new markets like the United States. And we won't have the details in Dallas, but I can tell you there's going to be some really sexy things happening. And I'm talking about starting like in November. So this is soon. This is fast. So you see this is, because you're going to see, if you look at those old companies that started 50, 60 years ago, they were all what was called stair-step breakaway companies. And that was the right thing for the time. But if you look at the companies that make it today, they're hybrid plans like FuXion, where they impose different parts of the different plan and make them balanced, because that's the only way you make them. You have to make them complex if you want to reward people for doing the proper behavior. They have, the companies that make it big, they have hybrid plans like we have in FuXion. So that's the second thing you need. Third thing you need to have, you need to have the corporate team. You gotta have the right people who know the product development, the logistics, the operations, the customer service, and most importantly, the thing we already talked about, they have to be good people. Because if they're good people, wherever there's an issue, they will fix the issues and make them go away. And that's why I'm here with you, because I know we have good people. People who are committed to creating this movement that will go around the world, where we will get to the point where every day 250 million people rip open a FuXion sachet or 2 or 10, right? So that's the third thing. Let me tell you the fourth thing you need. Money. Money with a capital M. You need a lot of money to start a company today. You know, I've consulted for years, so once a month I'll get a call from somebody. Hey, you know, we're starting a company, we want to hire you, you know, look at our plan, look at our product line, give us a, you know, study. So I've just learned now, I say, well, let me save you some time. First of all, I need to know, what's your budget? How much money do you have to launch the company? And they'll say something like, we've got a line of credit of $2 million. And I'll say, you know what, I'm not going to waste any of your time. You don't have a chance. You cannot open a company with $2 million, so I won't take your money. I wouldn't accept it as a client. And a lot of times they don't have $2 million. They're like, we got $1 million to do this. I'm like, sorry, you just can't make it with that. There was a time you could do that. You can't now. With the internet, it's basically made the world a village, right? It used to be, when I started in the business 30 years ago, when a company would start, they would start in 4 states. They would say, we're open in Texas and Florida and Oklahoma and Mississippi, and we're going to be opening soon in New York, and coming soon is Illinois. And now, if you try to open a company with didn't have all 50 states, nobody would even look at you. They're like, you're a ham and egg or deal, you know. And it's gotten to the point now where, with this last company that I was with, I mean, we launched in 12 countries from day one. And I think we raised the bar and challenged everyone. Nobody had ever done that before either. And so now it's like an accepted thing that if you have to be an international company, well, that means money. So again, if you look at, you know, what happens when you put 4,000 people in a day, and they all have an order, and Monday, and then you put 4,000 more people in on Tuesday, and 4,000 on Wednesday. How do you ramp up the production? Do you have that inventory in place? Do you have the raw ingredients in place? And then do you have a factory that can do it? And the reason why it didn't work in the last deal is because they, even though they were very well financed, they weren't well financed enough that they had their own factory. They had to use third-party vendors. And you know what? When we started doing that crazy growth, they couldn't get the product because they didn't own their own thing. So if you look at FuXion, 2 years ago, Rafael Zuniga goes to Alvaro and says, we need to, I'm going to raise a couple $1 million, we need to build a new factory. And Alvaro says, we don't need a new factory, we're only at 40% of capacity. And Raphael says, yes, but next year you're going to be at 80% capacity. And the year after that, you're going to be at 110% capacity. And if you're at 110%, then it means you got 10% back orders and we're going to kill the business. So we got to start the factory now. So you saw that promotion for the golden ticket. We're all going to go down to Peru in February and see the new factory. That comes when you have money that FuXion has. That's the research and development. That's the international patents that AGORA holds. That's because we have the money to do this. You're talking about, so here we are, this new market, the United States of America. We're open here, we're launched here, but we're not a startup company. We're a company that did more than $100 million, that owns their own factories, that has millions of dollars in research and development and the scientific advisory board and the patents and the science and the production capacity. I mean, literally, they give you an idea of the kind of company FuXion is. I think there was like 400 people working in the last factory. So now we quintupled production with the new factory. It takes 12 people to operate the new factory because everything is automated. And those 400 people who are working, they all still work for FuXion because they've just found them different jobs because we're growing so fast. That's just the kind of company it is. So, you need the product, the right product line, you need the right type of compensation plan, you need the corporate leadership team, and you need money. Those four things, and then you need one more. And the one more is the most difficult to get. The hardest one to get, because what you need is the right field leadership. No matter how much money a company has, they can't put themselves into momentum. No matter how amazing the corporate team is, they can't put a company into momentum. No matter how incredible the product line is, no matter how amazing the comp plan is, they can't put a company into momentum. Because the only thing that creates that exponential growth curve is the field leadership. The people in the Starbucks doing two-on-ones, the people in the living rooms showing the videos at the home meetings, the people making the trainings and the presentations in the field. You need to have people who know how to do that. Who isn't just show the slide and say, oh, see, the exponential growth curve, we're down here, oh, we're going to be the next billion-dollar company. No, senor. You need somebody who actually knows how to do it. And let me tell you a secret. I know how to do it. My team knows how to do it. If I look at the President's Circle, Ronald Renifo, Luca Maloney, Lily Rosales, Eric Gamio, Edison Ortiz, if you look at the leadership team we have the people to do this. So I didn't want to join FuXion. But when it's all said and done, there was no other choice that could be made. So, the last couple of things I would tell you is, if you're looking at this, you're here as a candidate tonight, you're evaluating it, or if you're watching this Facebook video, or maybe you're watching it after the fact, and the team member said, hey, go watch this Gage guy who's talking about FuXion. Here's what I would tell you. If you're evaluating FuXion, I want you to get all your questions answered. Don't make a decision until you get all your questions answered. But get them answered. If you're here tonight, get them answered tonight. I'll be here. Ronald will be here. We're all around. We're happy to answer any questions you have. But get your questions answered. And then once you know, if you know, yes, I want to do this, then you need to lock in your spot. Because timing and positioning are important. This is a Wednesday night. It's about 9 o'clock, right? So there's like a couple hours left and this week is gonna close. So you've got a whole bunch of people who are furiously trying to get to bronze so they can get that $500. Or they've got people, they're furiously trying to get to bronze so they can get their $500 matching payment. Or we have people going for gold or people going for platinum. And so there's a lot of activity. And so just because of the nature of the comp plan, it's better to be near the top of somebody's structure than it is to be near the bottom of their structure. You want to be one of their key people near the top. So timing and positioning are important. So get your questions answered, but once you have, don't wait around. Lock in your spot and go to work right away. Because again, we have this big event coming up in Dallas this weekend. A lot of amazing, this new product line that's going to come out. So things are about to get really, really sexy in the United States. Things are about to get really, really sexy in El Salvador. Things are about to get really, really sexy in some other markets opening soon around the world. We're about to go on a very aggressive international expansion program, a very aggressive product development program. I mean, we've got some extraordinary things taking place. So, everybody shows the slide. Everybody talks about momentum and exponential growth, but it's not 1 in 3,000 companies that will ever get there. And to get there, you've got to have those 5 dynamics in place that we have in place right here, right now. And I invite you to be a part of it. Peace.